Hey everybody. So in this week's Parsha, we have a very, very lengthy description of finding a wife for Isaac for Yitzchak. Avraham sends his servant Eliezer to the task, which he is successful at doing it. And it's 67 verses in the Torah. And at the end, it tells us that Yitzchak brought Rivka into the tent of his mother Sarah. V'yikach et Rivka v'tilo lisha. He took Rivka and she became to him as a wife. He loved her. V'yinachem Yitzchak acharei imo. He became consoled after the loss of his mother Sarah. So we see like a very, very strong link here. He's taking his wife into his mother's tent and he's being consoled after the loss of his mother. Rashi even goes further on this and he says that when he brings her into the tent of Sarah, Vaharei, he's Sari Imo. She was like Sarah's mother. Obviously, she wasn't identical to this. Therapists can say all kinds of things about this. But Rashi continues. And he tells us that there were three things that were personifications of Sarah, that after she died, they stopped. But when Rivka came back into her tent, they started again. And what were the three things? It says, Shekol Zman Shesara Kayem, and as long as Sarah was around, there was a ner daluk, a candle was lit, may Erev Shabbat to Erev Shabbat, from one before Shabbat, Friday night, to the next Friday night. This candle miraculously stayed lit the whole time. Ubracha matzui bi'isa, and the second thing was that there was a blessing found in the dough. And finally, the third one, it says, Anan Kashur al Ohel, that this cloud was hovering over the tent of Sarah. When Sarah died, these three things stopped. Rivka comes back, they start up again. What are they? Ner Daluk, this candle that was lit. Let's face it, what do candles do? Candles create atmosphere, candles create warmth. And that's why women have the mitzvah of lighting candles Friday night, because women bring that to a home. All these three things, by the way, are the things that make it and transform a house to a home. A house is just a structure. A home has personality. And so when you have candles being lit, and they're always being lit the whole time, candles give warmth, they give light, they give atmosphere. The second thing, bracha li'isa, that there was a blessing to the dough. What does that mean? Was there a lot of it? Yeah. But it's more of when women make something, when anybody makes something, it has a personality to it. I always find it ridiculous when you see these signs at some cafe that talks about homemade food. They're totally missing the point. Homemade has nothing to do with the ingredients. Homemade has to do with the love, with the care, with the concern, with the fact that somebody is making it for a family member or a friend. That's what we're tasting. It isn't something a Michelin star chef. That's not what makes something so wonderful to us. Homemade is because of the person who made it. And that's the bracha, that's the blessing that she brought to the dough when she went back in that tent. And the third thing, finally, Anan Kashur, that this cloud hovering over the tent, that's the Shekhinah. That's the divine presence. That's what women bring to a home. You know, in our day and age, you can't even talk about the difference between masculinity and femininity. It's all, very interchangeable. There's no real definitions of genders and such. And we've lost this sense that men have certain strengths and weaknesses, and women have certain strengths and weaknesses. And that's what the Parsha is pointing out here, that Rivka replacing Sarah, this wasn't some, therapist, we got to figure out why he has to replace his mother. No, it's talking about the feminine presence. Once Sarah was gone, it had left Isaac, it had left Avraham. Once Isaac's wife goes into that tent, it all comes back. The Maharal says, Ha'ish mevi v'ha'isha mitakenet. The man brings in, the woman fixes it. The man brings the raw materials, she's the one that gives it taste an atmosphere and make something out of it. That's what women bring to a home. They transform it from a house to a place with personality, with warmth, with atmosphere, and ultimately with the presence of God himself or herself. The word Shekhinah is actually a feminine word. The presence of God in a home. Have a good Shabbat.